Hey Chris, so this is going to be a new software that's going to help us communicate a little bit better, especially when it comes to program changes. Last week was your final week of that rep scheme, and now we're moving on to a little different block. And what I'm going to have mostly in mind is some of your aesthetic goals. So we're going to go ahead and go over the actual program together. But just keep in mind that the things you see in red are going to be supersetted or more so circuit style of training. That'll take place on most training days for you to go ahead and accomplish a lot of your body composition goals. Now, keep in mind, you can literally squat heavy every single training session or squat, deadlift, bench heavy every training session, do absolutely no cardio and still accomplish your fitness goals or your aesthetic goals because such a big part of it is diet. 90% of your aesthetic goals is going to be diet. It's going to help to burn a little bit more calories during training and facilitate it quite a bit through training. At the same time, if the diet's not there, then neither will the physique changes that you want. So we'll go ahead and go over diet sometime more in depth. I very much encourage you to call. It's starting to look like next week would probably be a better time because Friday I am leaving for a seminar in LA. So Monday would be a really good time to call those so we can go over some of those principles together. Let's go and look at your program though. All right, so starting with Monday, this is going to be the first Monday that you do. As you can see, things in the red are going to be a circuit style of training. Monday will be your hardest circuit training day. We're starting off with a few strength training exercises. Squat, new rep scheme, 1 set of 2. First week, we're taking that a little lighter and keeping the reps in reserve fairly high. Squat, 2 sets of 4. Floor press, it's going to be a new variation for you. Fairly simple though. Floor press is just going to take place on the floor. You're going to go ahead and set the rack to where if you're laying flat on the ground, on the floor, you're getting under the rack, unracking it, going down nice and slow. Your elbows touch the actual ground. You pause for a second, then press above you. It's going to help to kind of overcome some of the bicep tendonitis or pain that you've been experiencing, shortening the range of motion a little bit and pressing through a range of motion that's going to be less painful to that area. So it's going to help with overcoming some of those fatigue issues you're currently experiencing. But go back to the actual log. As you can see here, we're doing 3 sets of this circuit. It's going to be 20 seconds for each first set. So 20, 20, 20, 20, rest 90 to 120 seconds. Then you're going back to slams, back to the top. This time we're doing 15, 15, 15, 15, rest 90 to 20 seconds. Lastly, we're going to do 10, 10, 10, 10. Should be a really, really good cardiovascularly challenging kind of training. You'll very much enjoy it, and it should contribute to a lot of your aesthetic goals. Let's go ahead and look back at Wednesday. We're kind of veering away from circuit training, giving you a little bit of a break. We're just doing a superset at the end here, but we're starting out with conventional deadlifts, some intermediates, and some snatch grip deadlifts. Those are both going to be new variations for you. Intermediate deadlifts are going to help you to load your body more maximally and work towards maximal strength. You'll be able to put your body in a much more advantageous position to lift more load. So if you do your max triple with conventional deadlift off the ground is 300 pounds on 4-inch blocks, so the weight will be raised, the range of motion of the deadlift will be shorter. It's likely that your max will be more like 350. So you'll be able to handle much heavier loads because you're putting your body in a more advantageous position to lift said loads. So looking back at the program, snatch grip actually first. Snatch grip deadlift is going to really help with some of the upper back aesthetic qualities you're looking for and strength. One of the best ways to develop a stronger back is with a snatch grip deadlift. So instead, let's say your grip is normally here, we're going way the heck out here. You can go ahead and look. There's plenty of videos online kind of describing the basics of it. We're not going to train it too heavy, but we're more looking for it for strength and aesthetic qualities for the upper back. Think of it similar to a row, except it's going to be much more maximal loading. Going back to the log. And lastly, Friday, it's going to be our bench primary day. We're getting into Spoto press. Spoto press is going to be a new one for you along with pin squats. I'll go ahead and explain those real quick. Spoto press is just going to be a bench press variation where you're slowly going down to designated inches off your chest. For this week, we're going to go ahead and go 2 inches off the chest. So 2 inches off the chest, you go down, 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 down. Once we get to about 2 inches, we're going to pause for the designated amount of time. It's 3 seconds this week. So 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and 3 Mississippi. And then we're pressing from that 2 inches off the chest point. We're never touching our chest. That's a Spoto press. But a really big caveat there is that we really need to take advantage of the full time length, even if we have to reduce load a little bit to do so. One of the last things I like seeing is somebody going 1, 2, 3. and then pressing up, that's not going to get the training stimulus we're looking for. And this training stimulus is going to be one that benefits you greatly. I picked this photo press for a very specific reason. And then pen squats, we're getting a little bit of circuit training again, only 2 sets for this one. Squat thrusters, box jumps, and ab rollouts, 90-second rest, then back to the top. Should be fairly challenging. For pen squats, that's going to be a really fun variation for you, and it's going to help to defeat some of the sticking points you've kind of developed for your squats. Let's say you have a lot of trouble coming out of the hole of the squat. What we're going to do is at the 90 degrees point in your squat, so when you're sending into the hole and your knees and your hip crease are even, you're hitting exactly 90 degrees, that's where you're going to set the pins. So you're going to squat down. When the barbell hits the pins, you're going to rest on them for a second and then explode up. Now, what this does is you are having to develop force from an absolute dead stop in one of the hardest parts in the squat to do so. So it's a very good training stimulus and overcoming sticking points and just getting stronger. I really like pen squats for a number of different reasons, and I think you're going to develop from them quite a bit. So that's kind of a general overview of what next week's going to look like. It'll be kind of an intro week, deload somewhat. We're taking things slow, keeping the load fairly light, getting your body used to some of the new training exercises and accessories, especially the circuit training at the end. I'm not sure how it's going to go. So what I would encourage you to do is tell me how it goes, and we can either make it easier or harder based off of that. We definitely have a lot more room to make it harder, and we can definitely make it a little easier if need be as well. But again, this is going to be a big part for your athletic goals. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever.